Hello and welcome everyone to the Raybox Studio Facebook Live series. Today I'm here with Usha Devi. So let me just add her and you can say hello to her. Hi, Usha. Hi, Usha.
Oh, sorry. I'm mute.
No, you're not. You're already unmuted.
Okay, yes. Hi. Sorry.
How is it over there in KL?
KL is raining.
It's raining already.
It's raining at the moment.
Okay. So
Yeah.
welcome everyone. Those who have joined us for this Facebook Live series. Today I'm talking to Usha Devi, and she is a very experienced HR practitioner, and she will be sharing with us some of what we call HR hacks, and where she will help us use some of what she has used probably in her work to help us business owners in how we can use these hacks in our own business. We call hacks lah. It
Yeah.
could be tips, strategies, whatever it is that
Yeah.
you can share with us to help us with what we call our human resources or the people that we want to hire or people that we want to acquire in our business.
Yep.
Okay, so before we get started, I want to just quickly go through what you have given me and some little bit of your background. So Usha is a human resource practitioner with more than 20 years of work experience in local and multinational companies. So namely manufacturing, healthcare, and sales-oriented organizations such as Texchem Corporation, LKT Group, Avery Dennison Materials, Nippon Sheet Glass, and Goodyear, Malaysia. Currently, Usha is with Ramsay Sime Darby Healthcare in Ara Damansara as the group head for human resource. She was part of the country's leadership team in spearheading people and business transformation in the organization. Usha has also supported the group's HR activities in Vietnam, Thailand, and Indonesia. So in her current role, she is responsible for all aspects of people and work in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Hong Kong. So how has today been for you, Usha? It's been a lot. It's the end of the working day, right? So
Yeah, I remember a colleague of mine this morning at 11:30 a.m. felt like 11:30 p.m. Because it has been a little bit of an intense week, partly because we closed our financials middle of the year, end of June. Yeah, so there's planning for this coming new financial year, looking into what are the plans that we have. And the good thing is that business has picked up in all our hospitals. So that has been good.
okay. So now, which brings me to the question. Tell me a little bit about where you work and your organization.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm with Ramsay Sime Darby Healthcare. We are a joint venture company, a 50-50 joint venture company between Ramsay Australia and also Sime Darby Berhad. We have 3 hospitals in Malaysia, which is in Ara Damansara Medical Center, Subanjaya Medical Center, and Park City Medical Center. And we have also a college in Setia Alam. And we have 3 hospitals in Indonesia, 2 in Jakarta and 1 in Surabaya. And towards end of 2018, we started a day surgery center in Hong Kong. So day surgery center means that it's not a hospital. It's like if you want to go for cataract, you want to go for endoscopy, colonoscopy, you do not want to stay overnight in a hospital. So we call it a day surgery center. So yeah, so this is what we do. We are a growing organization. We are actively exploring greenfield and brownfield opportunities, mainly in Malaysia and Indonesia. No presence in Penang yet. Hopefully, in the future.
So the word is yet.
Yeah. We are on a growth mode at the moment.
Okay. So during the whole of MCO, you are all open, right?
Yes, we are all open. Yeah.
So
time also, if I can share a little bit. We from Malaysia, we are we did have one of our staff that was infected at the initial stage, but that he recovered. He's fine. We unfortunately have a little bit more of a challenge in Indonesia. We did lose one of our staff. He lost his life because of COVID. We lost two of our doctors in Indonesia due to COVID also. So it's a different way. It's a different country, have different mechanism of addressing this pandemic. So for us, it's interesting and also challenging, because you have to. So how do we support our employees, our doctors, our staff in Indonesia when we can't even go there? How do we have that remote support to them? And that has been quite a learning for us.
Okay. So then what is the day-to-day in the life of a HR practitioner who is overseeing so many things in so many different countries, even without the MCO? How is a day in your life like?
I think if you ask the operations HR, they probably have more exciting life than me in the corporate office here. I would say day to day, hard to predict day to day. I think a lot of the time is spent in understanding the business at that time, right? So because business fluctuates, so we just need to understand how the business is for that week or for that day, mainly for that week. A lot of meetings. I think we do have meetings. We do have. I have a lot. I mean, engagement with the employees. Like you asked me, how was it today? I actually had a call with one of my colleagues in Indonesia. Out of nowhere, he just texted me, just needed to share something during his lunch break. So these are things very unpredictable. So that it's like HR being there to listen to them, and also the other thing, it's why I say meetings is listening to the leaders here. What are the challenges that they have at that moment in time? Yeah, it's not very exciting lah.
Okay, so let's have a look at the people who are saying hello to us. There's Daniel. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Malar. And Chandrika. Hi, Chandrika from Park City Medical Center.
Yeah, I think Chandrika is my colleague from the Park City Hospital Medical Center.
Okay, so now I want to go into, because this episode is all about how we leverage like some of your experience and some of your knowledge. How do we help the business owners, especially in these times? And because we are now, most businesses and of course schools are opening up and businesses are also back into business. So we would like to know some of the ways that we can actually make this transition period better. So for people who have been working from home for the longest time, right? For 3 months plus, almost 100 days. So if we were running a business, how should we approach this getting back into work? Or just, do we all get back to work, or do we all like stagger it? What do we do?
Well, I can tell you what we can do as a company, right? I'll give you an example of Sime Darby Berhad, who is our shareholder, and they are just opposite the road. So they when the MCO lifted initially, the RMCO lifted initially, so they wanted advice from us as the health provider, what they can do or what they can't do. So we actually went there and tell them, advise them pro bono wise, what they can do. So on what are the precautions that we need to take. Our stand is still the basic, how do I say this? What should we do? I'm not the healthcare provider to say should or should not come back to work, or should have team A or team B. It all really depends on how comfortable they are as an organization. But for us, what we practice is that we all are back to work. but we are very conscious about, number one, social distancing, even in meetings. We put a lot of emphasis on our hygiene. So we clean our tables every day. I can tell you this, we have limit people as far as pantry is concerned. And you know, Malaysians, we like to dip into the bowl of cookies or the bowl of kerpo, or that we have stopped. So it really all depends on how the company goes. As a healthcare provider, for us, we are back to work. We have been back to work from the very beginning. Importantly, it's just to take that basic precaution. If I can share a little bit about our experience, right? Our hospitals have to come to work. Our employees have to come. Our 2,000, our 4,000 employees have to come to work every day. But I'm in corporate office. There are about 40 of us at corporate office. We happen to be based in the hospital, but there are corporate office people who are not comfortable coming to work.
Okay.
Right, they were not comfortable coming to work. So, so we were a bit conflicted, right? How do we manage it? But because our employees at the corporate office have some concerns, we decided that we work from home. But that was like way after the government, way after everybody worked from home. We were still at the office, but we decided that we work from home. And it was probably only it lasted about 3 to 4 weeks only, right? So I would say it all depends on the organization, and depends on how the employees feel about it.
Okay. Because during lunch today, I was also talking to someone who is a cafe owner. And for cafes, especially because they stayed open in a way because to enable deliveries and tapao and all that, not every one of their staff could actually work from home because, cafes are all pretty much hands-on. So I guess it depends on the industry, right?
Yeah.
If you can, I guess if you can prolong that work from home time, employers should be able to work around that kind of scheduling for their team, right?
Yeah. It depends industry, right? Like for example, healthcare, we can't, But what we have done is that because during the MCO, especially during the peak season of MCO, we have less people coming to visit the hospitals. So we do allow the flexibility of if they want to take leave, or if they are not comfortable coming to the office or to the hospital, we are okay with that.
Okay, so let's talk about business, and because you're in HR, right? I'm sure the first thing people think, oh, okay, HR, hiring people, right? Or at least, in the good times, they're hiring people. So if we're talking from the perspective of a business owner, there's this constant struggle and tussle of trying to find good people and, of course, find them and hire them. Is there something that us business owners are not doing right? Or is this something that we're not, how should I say, we're not finding the right people to hire? What is your thoughts on this?
You're talking about hiring. I think regardless whether business owner or is a big organization,
yeah.
I think hiring people, I personally believe it's a 50% process driven and 50% is luck.
Okay.
I personally believe in that. I don't think as anybody can say that they have been successfully 100% throughout their lifetime have been successfully hiring people 100% of the time. To me, when we hire people, is just we need to understand what is the job all about. I think my learning is that we find that sometimes when we hire people, we are not very, very clear what exactly that we want the person to do. Mm-hmm. We have a vague idea like, oh, I want this person. I want the HR person, but I want the HR person who can do payroll. I want the HR person who can do hiring. I want the HR person can do employee engagement. I want the HR person to be able to occasionally listen to, take calls. But what exactly is the main function of the role? So I normally would look at the top two. That what is the job requirement? So if a payroll person, what a payroll person needs to do is probably, okay, do payroll and do it on a timely basis and make sure employee gets paid, right? So, and what are the requirements, the traits for the role? I think that to me it has to be a marriage of between these two, and because sometimes we are not very clear about what we want,
Then can I ask this question? When is it the right time to hire?
Anytime.
Anytime.
When is the right time to hire? When is the right time to find talents, right? When is the right time to hire? It all depends on the business, right?
Yeah.
The business needs the people, then that is the anytime is the right time to hire. But when is the right time to spot talents is also anytime. To spot talents, I give you an example. One of my colleagues, she plays golf, and I can tell you this: she found a couple of talents on the golf course.
Wow.
Seriously, and we hired one recently through her getting to know this talent at the golf course out of nowhere. She, and she will go, and what I learned from her is that she will go for functions.
Yeah.
And she kind of look around and she will spot talents.
Yeah.
And then she will keep in touch with those people that she meet, and when the opportunity arises that we want somebody, she knows who to look for.
Wow. Okay. So does it mean that she actively goes out on the golf course and talks about?
She doesn't actively go out to look for talents. She said she loves to play golf. So when she happened and to be at the golf course, and she likes to start conversation with people.
Yeah.
So through that striking of conversation, she knows their interests, and that's how she get to know whether these people have any connection with the industry, and that's how she keeps.
Okay.
So she recently attended a function at her friend's place. So she met somebody in that function whom she felt that carried that young person carried herself very well. She spoke very well. So it kind of like a light lit up in her brain and said, hey, this person is probably good for a customer ambassador, customer relationship type of role. And we happen to have one.
Okay.
We also have that position. So it's how she connects this. And I think, and I learned as a HR, I'm not very good at, frankly, I'm not very good at all this, to spot talents in my personal time, right? But I think this is something that we learn. So spotting talents should be conscious, I would say conscious, but should be anytime, wherever we go, we meet people, we should try to connect the dots. And I think more so with business owners, because they, as a business expand, and they have different types of people that they're looking for, I guess.
Yeah. So basically, we have to keep our radar on all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And talk to people everywhere. Supermarket, while you check out in the grocery store.
I think so. I mean, I've met really leaders who actually found talents through these type of ways.
Wow. Yeah. But I do remember once many years ago, a friend of mine told me, she said she was in the bank and she was waiting to do her banking, and then she started checking up the teller, the person, and then she was saying, hey, would you like, she's actually trying to get her over to her company. So these are some of the things that I think as business owners, sometimes it is through our daily interactions with people that we come across some people who we feel are friendlier, nicer, that may fit our company or organization. Is that considered a very good way of getting talents? I mean, like in your organization.
I think because we are in my organization, yes and no. Because we are, if we are technical, clinical, medical to a certain extent, so it's not that not everybody that we
fits
check.
The bill. Yeah.
But yes, to a certain yes, also because we have functions like HR, like customer care, like finance, those who are areas that's not clinical or medical related. These are areas that we can, those random strangers that we meet, we might spot some talents. I just remembered there was one time a few years ago that me and a colleague from another organization, we had lunch in Uncle Chili's in Subang, and there was this the person that served us was very, very friendly in the context, really focused on focus on us as customers. So he just felt that, wow, this is one person that we might want to consider for us, for our organization at that time, because the person is so focused on customers, and we were at that time also expanding and looking for those in sales. So he gave his card to her and just asked her to, keep in touch with him if she wants to look for opportunities in in our organization.
Wow. So that's a good tip. Keep an eye out for talents all the time.
Yeah. Because I guess sometimes we tend to look at the box, right? Oh, my working hours is between this and this. Weekend is my time. I'm not going to think about work, So because I'm not going to think about work, I'm not going to think about talent. But I guess those people who are in their own business is probably different. They are constantly thinking about their work.
Okay. What are some other ways that businesses can learn to hire smarter, besides putting on our talent radar all the time when we're out there? What other ways can we use in order to hire more effectively, I would say?
I'm a believer of the interview process.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a believer of interview process, but I'm also a believer of multiple interview process. Yeah, I know it's not everybody have that luxury of time, because I just feel that half an hour talking to one person, we might not really have covered everything. But if we don't have the time, the half an hour that we talk to that person, we just need to be very clear on whether, I always believe in the, what's the word I use? The 3D and 1T, is it? Do the person have, can the person do the job, right? Like, can the person do the job? Does the person have the desire to do the job? Can the person be developed to do the job, or develop further outside from the job? And the fourth, does the person have the tenacity? Right?
Oh, okay.
So tenacity is something that I can tell you in all the positions that I look for, regardless whether it's HR or supporting my other peers. Tenacity is an area that I think it is a must.
How okay, now my question is, how do you interview for tenacity? How do you spot that or see that?
Questions, right?
Yeah.
I think that relates to when we interview, we need to ask questions that is specific to certain behavior or traits that we want. Look at past experiences that they have, rather than hypothetical question. For tenacity, I will look into asking them what are the difficult moments that they face. That difficult moment. So, for example, I give you an example of my experience now. I'm looking for a HR person in Indonesia.
Okay. So this could be a call for your for your HR person in Indonesia. So anyone, if you have a friend in Indonesia, make sure they listen or watch this Facebook Live, so that in case they are the right fit, right candidate, please contact Usha, right?
Yes. If you have any right for HR people in Indonesia, I'm looking for one. So I need somebody, when I say tenacity, we are highly unionized in Indonesia. I need somebody who knows how to manage union. And if, for example, if the union goes on strike, what do we do? So the questions is that, what are the difficult moments that the person has faced, at least in the last 5 years? Give me an example of a difficult challenge that the person faced with a big group of employees. So we go into the details of that incident and that behavior at that moment in time, and we kind of drill down to that aspect, as compared to tell me a situation where what happens if you were to face this. That is very hyper. So I
and people can say anything they like because it's a hypothetical question. And you
Yeah,
can imagine all the wonderful, courageous things they would do.
Yes, yes. I think sometimes we have that tendency to ask hypothetical question.
Okay.
And so for me, a better way would be kind of zoom into something that they have experienced before. I'm not saying that do not have any hypothetical questions, but 80% should be something that the person have done before. Right. Just
Okay.
like, yeah, you can't ask a payroll person, or what happens if the payroll person have never done payroll before.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take a quick look at our comments here. So there are a couple of people here. Hi, JC Neo. Perhaps that's your friend or someone that who came by. Then that's Malar. Hi, Malar. Malar has a question actually. And hello, Rowena. Nice to see you. And hi, Elizabeth. Okay, so we have comments and we have a question. So let me just pull up the comments first from Elizabeth. So Elizabeth says, having a powerful first impression opens up opportunities beyond imagination. So yes, couldn't agree more that organizations source talents from everywhere, not just confined to job applicants. Okay. And then we have Daniel. Daniel says, talents are all over the place. It's the skill or gift of the leader to spot them and how they will fit in their organizations. Yeah. And let's get to the question. So the question for you from Mala is, what should an employer do if we have some employees who are concerned about the risk of contracting coronavirus and want to work from home, and others who want to come into the office or site?
Oh, personal answer and professional answer.
Okay, we can have both.
Personal answer would be, well, if I'm an employee, I'm not comfortable to come to work, don't come to work, right? But not every employer will be open to that. That's a true fact, right? Not every employee would say, no, don't worry, you don't have to come to work, stay home. So I would, well, I can't really say there's whether right or wrong answer here. It really depends on employee. I've seen and I've heard employers who says that, well, if you don't want to come to work, you take your leave, you stay at home, you don't come to work. Right? I have also heard of employees who say, never mind, you can work from home. I think my view would be, why is it that the employee is concerned about contracting coronavirus at the workplace, right? If they have concern at the workplace, means that as an employer, we have not done enough to have the precautions in place to prevent it from happening, right? There's no reason for employees to have concern if the employers have put in all the necessary precaution, like, take the temperature, you have all these hygiene things in place. That being said, it is still up to individual, right? It is still up to the individual. I don't know whether I answered that, but for me, it's that if you're not comfortable coming to work, don't come to work.
Yeah. But then, of course, there'll be some employers, or some places of work would have some repercussions for that, right? Like,
yeah, I remember when the MCO started, right? We do have employees have to be at work, and they all this risk. They are high risk, right? The nurses are high risk, the doctors are high risk, right? So we have heard that people who they don't have concern, but their families have concern.
Yeah.
Of them coming to work. So it's how we educate our employees and reassure them that we have everything in place, all the safety precautions in place for them. And for us is that if you are not comfortable, take a break first, reassess, talk to the people, talk to your leaders, talk to your peers, and see whether it is the same sentiment. And if it's the same sentiment, then fine. But if it's not the same sentiment, reevaluate and still, if you can't come to work, then don't come to work lah.
Okay, so let's get back to the question that I wanted to ask. Before we started, I did ask you, Usha, that a friend of mine who couldn't be on this, who couldn't be watching today because she had some other things to do, but she says she will catch the replay. So she asked me to ask the question. There is this program called Panjana, right?
Yeah.
And she was wondering what is it about and how does she get to access the incentives in this Panjana program?
Okay, I don't know the specific details, but I can answer this question number 2. How to access is if you go into the SOXO website. It is under the EIS Employment Insurance Scheme. So they have this, it is managed by SOXO. If I'm not mistaken, in the past, it is open only for those companies that contribute to SOXO, but apparently now it's open, but you have to check on that. I think there are the hiring incentive that they have is that they give, the government will give the incentive for employers who hire unemployed people who have been unemployed for 2 months. For those below 40 years old, they gave about like 800 ringgit per month. But you have to hire this unemployed for at least a year.
Okay.
So there are some restrictions. I mean, there are some terms and conditions that is stated in this scheme.
So for those who want to hire, they still have to hire the person for a specific time frame, right? Like a year, 12 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if not, means some people will just hire for one, a couple of months, get the incentive, and then kind of let go. That's not the objective.
Okay. So we have another question. Okay. So this one is from Cheryl. Hi. In the new norm, would companies be more open to a hybrid working week? Example, work from home / in the office. So I guess it's probably to you from a HR perspective point of view.
I think, okay, again, it depends on the business nature of it, right? But my general view would be it's more of a hybrid moving forward. But I would say a hybrid also, it will be skewed more to working from home. Working in the office rather than working from home.
Oh, okay. And why is that so?
I have a different view in this. Yeah, I feel that once this MCO, this pandemic is over, maybe next year, things will be back to kind of people who still want to see each other in the office, and bosses or leaders say what we want. I think we are to a certain extent control freak lah. That's what I feel. So they need to see, oh, my people here, they are doing their job. We can say that we are open and flexible, but your true colors will come out. That's my view. That's my personal view. And as such, I think it would be a hybrid hybrid, but it will be most people still would want to work in the office. When I asked around here, when we were back in the office here, I asked my colleagues here, majority of them are looking for a hybrid. So they don't mind coming to work, say 3 days a week or 4 days a week, but at least one day they would prefer to work from home.
So her follow-up comment, Cheryl's follow-up comment, bosses need line of sight.
At least the bosses that I see around, probably 80% of them would say yes. But again, it depends on industry, right? Healthcare, we are conservative, and my colleagues in Australia, they also they did mention that before the pandemic, most of our seniors leaders in Australia were also quite conservative as far as working from home. They also said, no, you have to, we need to see you, kind of thing. But after this pandemic, and the leaders were forced to work from home for, I think, the last 3 months, they are now beginning to be very open to a hybrid of working from home and also at the hospital. But it was not easy for them to kind of have that revelation of the new way of working.
Especially, I guess, because you're all in the medical or healthcare field,
Yeah.
where that's even more important, right? I guess, to see the person, to help that person. So I guess it probably depends on the industry also. Like for digital, I mean, we have been working from like anywhere, not only home.
I mean, if you talk about manufacturing, manufacturing also they can work from home, but not people who are in the plant who run the machine. They can't. But the sales people they can. Some of the office folks they probably can.
Okay. Let's get back to that question or that discussion we were having before we took on some of these questions. Is that how can we hire better? So we say interview, right? The interview process, multiple interviews. How many is multiple?
No,
Sounds a lot.
Sounds a lot, but okay. I put a caveat here. When I say interview, it doesn't have to be face to face. Yeah, it can always be on the phone or just a tele. So for me, at least two.
Two interviews.
For me, two.
Okay.
And two. One is more formal. The other one is more casual. Like over coffee.
Okay. And how many people on the team should be sitting in during this interview to talk to that person?
Hiring manager is a must.
Okay.
Hiring manager, no choice. You have to be there.
Yeah.
It all depends on how many stakeholders that role needs to work with. Right. So if there are a fair bit of people that needs to work with, and so the more right. I'll give you an example. It's that when we were hiring, what position was that? When we were hiring our branding head here in Ramsay Sime Darby, she had to go through several rounds, and there were several rounds of people that interviewed her. I give you, for example, obviously the direct supervisor. I mean HR by default, right? Finance went through because the branding has budget, and budget has a lot to do with finance. The hospital CEOs also were involved because what the branding person will do has a lot of impact to the hospital's marketing and the branding. So they need to be comfortable of who the person comes in. So she, I think, was interviewed by probably six people, generally, and different functions, a different portfolio. So it really depends on who are the stakeholders that will be involved in that job itself.
Okay. Does it mean that if you're hiring higher up the ladder, you need more time for this process? And if you're hiring maybe a junior staff or someone that's maybe doing something that maybe not that doesn't need that much of experience, you don't need that process? Or is it just the process depending on the kind of person that you want to hire? It doesn't matter what level.
I think it depends on the job, itself, right? Rather than the seniority, if I were to take HR as an example, if we were to hire say a more junior HR person, but that role itself needs to have dealings with a fair bit of different department heads, right? For example, the person is supporting the hiring for our nursing team, the hiring for our pharmacy team. So she has a lot of internal customers. So even though it's a junior role, I would probably do the same that the stakeholders would need to interview that role, so that when the person comes in, it's the person will be on board easier because you already get the stakeholders to buy in who you are, who is in that role.
Okay. So it doesn't really matter whether you're junior level or senior level, as long as you know who or which department or who you're interacting with.
Correct. That's my view. That's my personal view. Even though I think some leaders would say that, oh, if juniors, why do we want to have so many people interview? Let's just get it done with, yeah.
Okay. So now let's talk about, because you work in a larger organization, and then of course the perks and the benefits will be better. How
Not
can
so.
so let's assume. So just say that there's smaller businesses, right? Smaller businesses, SMEs, they may not have that kind of benefits, lah.
Yep.
So in terms of hiring or in terms of looking for talents, would you say that they would lose out in this sense, since they can't offer so much more, perhaps in terms of a good remuneration package, or even with the other add-ons, how can small business owners or even SME owners not focus on that, but how do we actually hire better people, even if we don't have that to offer, or not yet to offer?
Yeah. How do I say this? I think it is, the value proposition of that organization, and also the value proposition of the role. It is a perception that bigger companies have better salaries and better benefits, which might not be truly true, because you can see now, even big companies are laying off equally as smaller organizations. But I would see that the basics have to be there, even if you're a small company, you have to make sure that you have a decent salary. I'm not talking about the benefits here. A decent salary. You have to make sure that you pay your salary on time. As an employee, that's what we want, right? A decent salary. You pay all the statutory, the basics. I will look at, number one, ensure that the basics are there, right? If it's at number two, the value proposition as far as being truthful about where the organization is, the situation of the organization. I can give you a very simple example as far as if you talk about big companies, right? Healthcare traditionally are not the highest paymaster. If you want to be rich, don't join healthcare. Right? We are in competition with a lot of other companies, because healthcare traditionally, I would say that look at your organization's value proposition. Employees tend to want to look for an organization that has a meaning. What is it in their job that they can contribute, right? So sell that value proposition to the talents out there.
Does it also include telling them that of a certain career growth or career path? Would that also help when you're trying to pitch or trying to get your people to come into your company and work for you? Because I did hear that some people feel that, or maybe their prospects for career growth is not that fantastic in a smaller company.
Well, bigger company is also the same though. I think people think that bigger company have better career prospects, smaller company is not. It really depends. I still believe that career growth, it all depends on individual, right? We have our own career. If we want to be in an organization for the career growth, we have to make that. If it's a small organization, for example, you only have 10 people, there's nothing much as far as career growth. I'm not talking about satisfaction. Career growth, if you want to naik pangkat, maybe a bit difficult. So I think we have to be truthful to the employee that, hey, this is what it is. That's it. I don't have any more career growth, in this company. This is it for me in that context. So if I want to look at career growth, sorry lah, not at this stage in this organization.
Okay, let's take questions. So we have 2 questions. So I think, shall we take the shorter one first? We have short and long ones. Okay, so let's JC Neo ask, what are some of the platforms to reach and source better talents for the creative industry? Would you know any?
Alamak, creative industry is not my industry. Sorry, creative is really, I have zero clue on this. But what I think is a good platform, I think LinkedIn is a very good platform. Right.
I agree.
I just feel that LinkedIn is I've seen how LinkedIn have grown in the last few years. There's, it used to be a certain segment of how do I say, the workforce, but now it's like there's so many business owners there. There's so many even creative people there. I would probably suggest LinkedIn.
Okay. How about those traditional job places where people post jobs and people start looking for jobs?
Right. Yeah. The common job portals, I think that's still effective.
Yeah.
If you have a company website, it really depends. For us, we put a lot on our company website. All our positions are advertised on all our hospital websites.
Okay.
Regardless, high level, low level, it's all on.
It's all there. So I guess if anyone wants to look for a job, like what you were talking about, that role in Indonesia, they can always go to the Ramsay Sime Darby healthcare website to read up more on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Now we look at the longer question. So this one is Mala's question. What would be some of the better or more advisable practices when we are looking to hire contract talent for projects? Do we keep them actively in the loop with internal updates, example, town halls, staff benefits, etc.? Reason for asking, some firms seem more keen to take new or specialized talent on a contract basis versus permanent roles. Oh, this is a good question, Mala. And there are many questions in this question. It's multiple question. Okay. So
what would be some of the better practices you're looking for? Do we keep them actively in the loop? Okay, maybe the second one I can answer that. Do we keep them active? Of course. I don't think I've ever experienced where the contract, we call it contract talents or contract staff, are out from any of our town halls or any of our communication, because they still contribute to the organization. And as far as benefits, well, admittedly, there are some differentiation. Some companies do have differentiation as far as contract employees and non-contract employees. Again, that is up to the organization, but I think there should not be any differences. I can tell you, I'm on contract. I'm a contract staff. I have a 3 years contract. I'm not a permanent employee in that sense, right? So, but we are. It really depends on the organization. What I see is that more and more companies now treat contract employees and full-time permanent employees nearly equal. So as far as communication, as far as part of the engagement activities, we have to make sure that all employees, whether they are casuals, contract, or full-time, are involved in it.
Okay. So then the first question will be, what are some of the better, more advisable practices when we are looking to hire contract talent for projects?
Oh, what the practice.
Does your organization, hire, of course you said you...
We hire contract talents for projects. Yes, we do, especially when we want to, the recent one that we want to roll out IT projects. Yes, we do have a fair bit of contract employees. What's the practices when we look for them? I don't think there's any, for us, there's nothing specific, but because we treat our contract employees and non-contract employees
the same.
The same. The only difference is that, their deliverables are more, how do I say, more precise, because they have shorter deliverable time frame as compared to those, the full-time employees. But no, for us, there's no specific difference. I guess that's probably why we are able to attract the talents to join us for projects because we don't really differentiate much.
Okay. So I have a question. What are some of the craziest things you had to do as a HR practitioner?
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah, or toughest lah.
Toughest,
Most
crazy.
challenging.
HR cannot crazy lah. Toughest would be letting people go.
Okay.
I would say toughest. If I can share an experience, I was supporting a factory in Vietnam in one of my past lives. 4 months into my job, we had to mothball the plant, and we had to let go, I think, nearly 400 people at that time. And that was a bit, that was difficult. Yeah, letting people go is always difficult. The craziest, can't think of any.
HR not crazy. It just
Some people have to be crazy, that only they can be in HR, right?
and to last so long in HR, right? Yeah. Because I also feel that HR is not the easiest of roles to play. It doesn't matter whether you are a business owner hiring or whether you have a HR manager hiring, right? It's really difficult, especially looking for people to help you out to fulfill a certain role or position in your company. I think it's hard. It's really hard. So we're always on this quest, right, to look for talent, people. Yeah. And the one thing that we didn't touch on, even though we're almost at the top of our hour now, is that how do we retain them after we've gone through the multiple interview process, sorted them out, know that this is the person we want to hire, keeping them, right, and keeping them. But I believe that keeping them in an organization where they can see their prospect for growth should be far easier. I mean, I don't know. Would you agree with that? I mean, since you have extensive experience in this field.
Yeah. I think for us, I mean, my personal view, in order for anyone to stay, that includes you and me, and anyone to stay, number one, obviously we need to be paid fairly. I think that's fundamental. I think people tend to take it for granted, but I feel strongly that we have to make sure that we pay people fairly. I use the PALI, paid well. No, I would say paid well, but paid fair. You have to appreciate our employees. We always forget about that. The small things to say thank you. Just small things to appreciate what they have done. Listen to them. I think that's very important, especially the younger generation. Listen to them. And also the other one is the I, which is get them involved in the business. All employees, I think my experience has been majority of employees want to be part of the business, whether it's a big business, small business, whether it's a department or not. All employees, most employees are not the makan gaji type, right? Most people want to have a sense of belonging, and they want to contribute to the growth of that community or that tribe, right? So you get them involved in the whole process of being more transparent in the decision-making process, or how the business is, what are the challenges. I think that's very important. And if I can share a little bit of one example, I used to work in Goodyear tire, and I remember when we were struggling to grow the business, the workers in the factory actually volunteered to go out and sell the tires.
Wow.
Seriously, they wanted to be the ambassador to sell the tires. They volunteered because they want to be involved, and you can see the passion in them, that they are very committed to the company, and that's why they wanted to do it. Right? And that's a learning that I got. Seeing how employees are committed once they are being appreciated, and they are involved in the whole process.
Okay, we have more comments coming in, so I'll just pull some for you to look at. So this is from Joanne Fong. What is your advice for small family business in HR? Total headcount less than 20. Well, this is pretty vague question, though.
I'm not sure what exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, maybe like if that's what we're talking about. We're trying to say that okay, if you're a small company or a small business, how can you hire or even attract, right? First of all, attract the good people into your company. So I guess, Joanne, if you just join us, please go and watch the replay, because I think, Usha, you did mention some of the good stuff at the beginning of this Facebook Live. So then, she actually quickly summarized what you said just now. Paid fairly, 1. 2, appreciate employees. 3, listen. And 4, get them involved in the business. Okay, so at least you got that gist, that part. Malar says, thanks, Usha. Re-practice honest, transparent comms, irrespective of being contract or permanent hires. Yes, I think that's. And of course, Daniel, what does he say? Oh, yes. It's the small things that goes a long way, and contribution increases engagement. Yeah, I think what you say is true. I mean, a lot of people, regardless of whether it's a big business or small business, they just want to be part of that organization, to feel that they belong, right? And it is not, and contrary to popular belief, like we always think it's always the salary, always the money that is attractive. Actually, it could be some of the non-monetary things that they are looking for, non-monetary factors that they are looking at.
Yeah, it's a sense of belonging. It's definitely a sense of belonging. That's as what the Indonesians say, kekeluargaan.
Yeah. And I think for kekeluargaan, it's also easier for a smaller business to inculcate those values, or at least to start with those values first when they are growing, right? Yeah. Okay.
Like a small department in a big organization. You see some departments are very cohesive and they are like a family as compared to a big organization. So the small department is like a small business.
Okay. So so thank you so much for it. I wish we could talk for another hour. I'm sure I could dig out more tips and more stuff from you.
Crazy what HR has done. I think I have done a lot of crazy things. Let me recall my memory. Over dinner tonight.
Over dinner. Okay, then we have to get you to comment at some of this comment section here. What are the craziest things you've done?
Things I've done, yeah.
But usually I would say, like, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's crazy or not, but I guess HR has the toughest job, right?
Yeah, but I remember now I wanted to say this. HR people have to know how to have fun. Right?
Okay.
I'm a true believer of HR needs to have a sense of humor. If HR is very dodgy, like, oh no, you cannot smile, you cannot laugh, you cannot make crack jokes, I think that's, to me, cannot lah. HR has to be the party fun, what's the right word to use, the party fun person in the organization.
The live wire. Yeah. So do you consider
we can be the second live wire?
So do you consider yourself the live wire?
I think well, Chandrika is there, so I'm not sure. So I think if I'm on leave, my people in the office will miss me lah.
So definitely you have to show your face at work lah.
I'll show my face on Zoom lah next time. I think HR needs to provide energy to the organization.
Okay. So if you're not the HR if you don't have a HR person in your business, I guess you, as the leader of your business or organization, you have to provide that. You have to be that, right?
If small businesses, everyone is a HR, right? For me, if you have 20 employees, like Joanne, all 20 employees are HR. And HR is not just HR. I hold a portfolio of HR, but HR is everyone in the company.
So it means that they can also go out there, actively help you.
Every one of us have a responsibility to support each other, to make each other feel appreciated, to listen to each other, right? To get involved. So it's, HR is by default it's a function, but by the role itself, I think I consider everybody is a HR.
Wow. And on that note, we would say thank you, Usha, for a wonderful conversation that I had with you. We went through a couple of different parts. We went talking about this and that. But I think at the end, we realized that, like what you said, the key takeaway for me, like you mentioned just now, is not a role. It's not a HR manager's role. It's everyone in the company is HR. Okay,
Yeah.
so finally, for those of you who want to connect more with Usha and be her friend, go and find her LinkedIn. That is the platform that she talked about just now as a good platform for you to find talents or get to know potential talents that you may want for your company and you may want to hire in future. And also to recap that a little earlier in our Facebook Live, she was saying that sometimes you get talents in I wouldn't say orders, but in places that you may not consider places to actively look or source for talents. So even if you're playing golf, you can still find people, or you're eating in Uncle Chili's, you can also find people. So basically, you just have to keep your eyes and your ears open to see where all these fantastic people are and try to get them to be on your team, right? Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching this session. I know it's the end of the day. I know some of you are like, oh, it's the end of the day, I'm tired. But I'm so glad that you stayed and you were here. And if for those of you who are watching this replay, thank you so much for watching the replay. Please share this with all your friends, whether or not you're in business or whether you're working HR or whether you just want to know a little bit more about some HR practices and some of the tips that Usha has shared with us today. Please share this Facebook Live session with them. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for all the wonderful comments and wonderful questions that are very intriguing. Very intriguing. Thank you. So yes, we will see you again in our next episode of our Facebook Live session. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Krista. Thanks, everyone. Bye.